r/ask Reddit. What was ruined because it became popular? Without a doubt, the entire concept of food trucks. Food trucks used to be quick cheap eats that were pretty good despite coming from a cart or the back of a truck. The hipsters and suburban folk got involved, and now I am eating food that, while good, is now $12-15 for small serving of Korean barbecue or weird Brazilian fusion empanadas. If I want a drink, it's another $2.50. The whole point of a food truck is that it's fast, cheap and somewhat good. Now it's just expensive bullcrap that I have to eat standing up. Go to large construction sites around lunchtime. Best authentic Mexican food for dirt cheap. Yeah, but you gotta find the right lunchbox in the fridge, and who has the time or energy to fight off an angry and starving Mexican construction worker these days? Any location known for its nature. Seriously, littering and vandalism is not cool. Who raises those ducking people? No one did. That's the problem. People did. The problem is they are the spitting image of their parents. Once went to a state park with caves with signs posted about do not enter cave due to white nose disease affecting bats. Saw people with kids pass the clearly marked trail and going into the cave, climbing on the cliffs and encouraging the kids to do the same. It made me sick. There should be very large fines imposed for behavior like this. It can ruin nature and habitats permanently, and many people can only be made to care by hurting their wallets. Newegg used to be able to get incredible deals on electronics computer parts before they got real popular and started spending tons on advertising. Newegg prices are not great anymore, and their processing and shipping has slowed. It used to be they would either be the best price or within 5% of the best price and have free shipping on most items, and since they shipped out of NJNCA, you'd get your package in 3 days or less regardless of where you lived, even with standard FedEx shipping. I would often order items standard shipping and have them the next day. I would literally just order everything there even if it wasn't the absolute best price, because the convenience was so high and the customer service was amazing when you needed it. Now they are just another electronic big box store marketplace. Keep calm and carry on. Short version. Posters created during World War II in case of Nazi invasion of Britain. Never used except maybe in the Channel Islands. Copy discovered in a bookshop in the mid-2000s. Finders keepers applied. Everyone starts printing keep calm and on literally ducking everything. The simplicity of the original message lost forever in thousands of items of utter ducking tat. Keep calm and it's my half birthday. Shit's annoying. Yo. That's how you know it's dead. A monetized meme is a dead meme. The housing market in name your trendy city. Sydney. Heard you like paying 7 digits for a literal shack. I wonder how San Francisco compares. My favorite local swimming holes. Pre-internet cell phone days, I could cruise up to my local abandoned rail bridge or mountain creek with my friends all summer every day and never really see anyone. Now you can't find parking. I feel this so hard. I live near Asheville, NC, and all the places I grew up going to are just swarmed with people all the time because of articles like 10 swimming holes you have to go to this summer. Ugh. Food places. As soon as it becomes popular, it becomes busy. This has ruined many restaurants for me. Yep. Seen this happen when the place can't keep up with the orders. So food starts to degrade, and in order to cook faster they buy an already cooked shit, then the big thing that brought everyone there is gone and rip. A lot of national parks, at least in the US, follow the 1/2 mile rule. Crowds thin out if the point of interest is more than 1/2 miles from the nearest parking lot. Every video game community ever. At first it consists of people who love the game and like to have discussions about it. But if the game gets too popular, everything becomes toxic and the childish complainers take over. Extreme couponing. I used to get great deals, and then that stupid show and the fad patrol that followed came in. A lot of stores stopped doubling coupons and coupon stacking after that. Now I'm paying full price for groceries again like a sucker, comma. Every time I've looked at coupons, it was for food I wouldn't buy. Minecraft. I swear to God that was the shit before it started targeting kids. Minecraft was and still is extremely fun, but sadly the fanbase is so cancerous that I cannot handle it. Do what I do. Build cool stuff at home and never ever engage with the fanbase. I like architecture and exploring, so it's nice to build and play all alone. Thailand and other popular tourist destinations. Bali, especially Kuta Beach, it's so popular that it becomes a shithole. Bali was the most overrated destination I visited. Dirty, full of hawkers and sleazy men. The first night I was there, I saw a fat woman with handlebars tattooed on her back. I bet you she was Australian lol. 4chan. It was never good, but at least it was kind of interesting way back in the day. You could have a normal conversation with people without all the edgelords and shitposts jumping. Blame Anon. Johnny Depp. He used to a quirky, eccentric artist who turned his back on teen heartthrob fame to star in films like Ed Wood and Edward Scissorhands. Ever since Jack Sparrow went mainstream, he's been phoning it in beneath layers of pancake makeup. I feel like Johnny Depp has gotten worse because Tim Burton has gotten worse. Game of Thrones, Walking Dead. Both are interesting shows, but once you miss an episode you have to avoid social media. Either that or have most of the episode spoiled within an hour of missing it. I agree. It really annoyed me when someone spoiled the scene where Tyrion gets pregnant and he needs to travel north of the wall to give birth, but he lays eggs and then they hatch but they're dragons, and then Jon Snow found him feeding the dragons on his teat and was like, Tyrion, this is most unusual, so he picked Tyrion up and the dragons were still attached to his teat and Jon carried him all the way to the wall, but Ned Stark didn't allow Tyrion beyond the wall because he is a Lannister, so they closed the gate and Tyrion had to get on top of his 3 dragons to fly over the wall and then traveled all the way to King's Landing where Cersei was eating dinner with Yara Greyjoy and they were laughing so hard because Yara had a whole slab of meat stuck in between her teeth and Tyrion just settled his dragons down to sleep, then looked directly into the camera and winked and said just another day in Westeros, and then the screen went black. Sacha Baron Cohen. He can never do a movie like Borat again because too many people recognize him. I think people probably kind of forgot about him. Tons of makeup and costume work and no one would recognize him in a lot of the world. Borat is 11 years old. I think he's fine to do more work like that. Bring Ali G back. Quora. The quality of the content has gone down significantly in the past few years, ever since the Facebook crowd started pouring and it became a junkyard of cliché questions. The San Francisco scene in the mid to late 60s. Hippies had rented houses up and down Haight and Ashbury. They had free crash houses, houses set up as free mess halls, free clinics. The Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane held free concerts in the park every weekend. They were building their own little paradise and, at least at the time, it was working. When the media coined the term turn on, tune in and drop out, edit, Leary coined the phrase, the media publicized it much further. Thanks for all the corrections. 100s of teenagers a day started showing up. They overwhelmed the budding infrastructure. Teens were turning to hard drugs and prostitution to cope and survive. Kids were getting exploited everywhere. The people who were there in the beginning don't remember the summer of love as fondly as history does. It was the beginning of the end. The Dead talked about the moment they knew everything changed. They were walking to the park, on their way to hold another concert, and people started to follow them to the park. By the time they got there was thousands of people following them down the street. The evening news let their magic escape and no one could put it back in the bottle. After the Haight-Ashbury scene was destroyed and Nixon was elected, there was a huge feeling of defeat. That is when hippies started retreating to communes. Facebook. It was actually cool when everybody pretty much exclusively used MySpace. Got those ducking profile songs that would start blaring at you while your 56k connection was still loading the rest of the page, so it was difficult to hit stop where the ducking worst. Yes, back in like 0506 before parents and companies started to join, people posted anything they wanted without giving a shit. Memes. I like this because being popular is built into the definition of meme. So memes ruined themselves by existing. Rick and Morty. Almost. To be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand Rick and Morty. The humor is extremely subtle, and without a solid grasp of theoretical physics most of the jokes will go over a typical viewer's head. There's also Rick's nihilistic outlook, which is deftly woven into his characterization. His personal philosophy draws heavily from Narodная Vola literature. For instance, the fans understand this stuff. They have the intellectual capacity to truly appreciate the depths of these jokes. To to realize that they're not just funny, they say something deep about life. As a consequence, people who dislike Rick and Morty truly are idiots, of course they wouldn't appreciate. For instance, the humor in Rick's existential catchphrase "wubba lubba dub dub," which itself is a cryptic reference to Turgenev's Russian epic Fathers and Sons. I'm smirking right now just imagining one of those addle-pated simpletons scratching their heads in confusion as Dan Harmon's genius unfolds itself on their television screens. What fools! How I pity them. And yes, by the way, I do have a Rick and Morty tattoo. And no, you cannot see it. It's for the ladies' eyes only, and even they have to demonstrate that they're within 5 IQ points of my own. Preferably lower, beforehand. Dumpster diving. People leave the place a complete mess afterwards, and now so many stores and restaurants lock up their dumpsters at night. I used to dumpster dive when I was 16/17 around 2003 to 2004 after my friend found a full working security camera system in a Radio Shack dumpster. Of course we never found anything that cool again. Oh boy, I remember when my town's Kmart was closing. Their dumpster was a gold mine for a couple weeks. Highlights: minus 36 inches TV and VCR, tons of VHS and DVDs, about 20 cartons of cigarettes, a fairly nice stereo system. This was also back around 2002 to 2003. Facebook. Once my older family all started sending me friend requests, it went to shit. Used to be a place where you could say anything and be yourself in your group of friends. Now people have to censor what they say because their aunt's husband's grandmother that met them once will be offended. Plus a damn demon spawn grandchildren pictures block up your newsfeed. Don't forget, companies stalk profiles and use it against you. Fun shit. American Ninja Warrior. Got picked up by NBC and now it's less about athletic talent and more about sob stories. Anytime I see someone say that they're competing so that they can earn money for their horribly disabled family member or something, I hope they fail on the first obstacle and break their legs. I don't know about other people, but I always watched the Japanese Ninja Warrior for the ridiculous competitors that would wear crazy costumes, do stupid stuff and then fail the course. The US version has completely eliminated that from the show. Bunch of bullshit. I watch a lot of streams, so for me streamers, medium-sized streamers with followers of around 2k quantities are probably the best. Anything over that and the only way people can let their voice heard is through spamming. Depends on the streamer too. San Diego Comic Con. Before Twilight it was really easy to go to. Before the MCU really started taking off it was still fun to go to Goodwill and other thrift stores. Even my local GW in a wealthier neighborhood has particle board trash ticketed for twice the original purchase price new. I remember the good old days when you could actually find decent lightly used furniture, decorations, kitchenware and odd knacks for cheap. Too many people finding gems and posting and showing off how bad Goodwill is at pricing. That and Macklemore. Any fashion trend once it ends up in Forever 21. My main issue with Forever 21 is there will be a perfectly good looking jacket, shirt, sweater, etc, and then they ducking ruin it by putting a tacky saying on the back. Several dog breeds. Every time a breed gets overproduced the animals suffer a decline in quality. Crossing things with corgis, crossing things with poodles, teacup varieties, yep, but always follows pop culture. Remember Lassie? Every family in America had one back then. Finding Nemo? Everyone had to have a clownfish. Jaws? Nobody went to the beach for a year. Best beach year ever. Mount Everest. From what I understand, it's become a bad idea littered with empty oxygen bottles, corpses, and turds, and the rest of the planet is all downhill from there. Theme parks, especially Disney World. I don't want to spend $4,000 plus on a vacation just to spend the whole time standing in line. Underground music festivals. It used to be something you only found out from pamphlets and word of mouth. Now everyone posts it to social media and it's really watered down the scene. Antibiotics. Yes, I'm a physician. And yes, I'm scared. YouTube. John Cena. Back when he was doing his heel rapper gimmick he was getting thunderous reactions from the fans because he was edgy and different. He had a good look and his opponents did a tremendous job of making him look like a better wrestler than he was. But because the fans really liked him, Vince gave them what they wanted and Cena went from the mid-card to the main event. That's when fans decided he wasn't a good enough wrestler to be headlining events and booed the now good guy John Cena. It then became cool to boo Cena. He's actually a really great guy, and sometimes, not all the time but sometimes, wrestling fans can be utter pricks. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.